this. So let me start over once again. So find us on Twitter at Pennsylvania Aford or at PS Aford, on Periscope at PS Aford. Again, if you're not familiar with Periscope, it's going to be very prominent in next year's presidential project. Melanie Lynch is going to be our president next year, and she is going to be running a 21-day or a healthy nutrition challenge. That'll take place in February, and the top prize winner will get a trip for 4 to Disney. So that's going to be exciting, and stay tuned for that information coming out real soon. We're going to be working with her very closely coming up real soon, and you'll see a lot of stuff on Twitter, on Periscope, hopefully on Facebook, and we're going to do a webinar with her as well to tell you a little bit about the Healthy Nutrition Challenge. It's great for wellness committees, great for your classes, and so on. So lots of exciting things coming up. If you haven't yet registered for the convention, it's still not too late. We're going back to Valley Forge, so all of you on the east side of the state will be down in your neck of the woods, so come join us over at the Valley Forge Casino Resort. It's a wonderful facility. They are renovating it, and they've renamed all the rooms, so if you remember your rooms from last time, too bad. We just changed them all, so there's going to be a lot of new things going on. But that'll be an exciting one. Carl Kiefer, our current president, will be running a jump rope for heart at that event, and we'll have all the typical things. The dance gala is going to happen again. The Cottrell banquet, you'll get to see the Elmer B. Cottrell Award winner this year give their speech, highest award that Pennsylvania Aford gives, and it's a wonderful, wonderful event. So hopefully you can join us, as well as all the Teachers of the Year will be awarded at the luncheon, I believe on Friday. So exciting stuff. Can't wait to see all of you there. Hopefully you've registered, and tell all your colleagues, and ask your school districts to spend the money to send you, because it is a worthwhile event and you will learn a lot. Tonight we have with us from North Allegheny, Dave Schmidt. He is the head of the Health and Physical Education Department at North Allegheny School District. He has recently worked a lot with flipping his class and using technology to extend the walls of his program and beyond the walls of his gymnasium. So he's going to take you through tonight. He's going to do mostly a screen share, and we'll have a few handouts for you as well that we'll show at the end. We'll share that with you, and you can all download it. So enjoy, and hopefully he's on here. Without further ado, I'm going to turn my camera off and mute my mic and introduce you to Dave Schmidt.
Are you seeing what I'm seeing, the agenda? Yeah, Todd, can you hear me now?
Hear you, Dave. Can you hear me? Okay, good.
Yes, I
I'm going to
can.
mute my mic, so I'll be here if you need me.
Okay, just give me a text or a call or something in the chat box if it goes awry.
All right, I'm going to run
Get
up and get
started, I
my
guess.
cell phone. It's charged, hopefully.
All right, everybody else, good evening. My name's Dave Schmidt. I am the Vice President for Physical Education at PS Aford. I'm also the Department Chair for Health and Phys Ed at North Allegheny School District. Tonight I just want to share with you some things I've been doing that have helped me to extend the classroom walls, or grow the classroom walls, so I can get kids outside, get them more active, and take the curriculum outside of the gymnasium. First off, I thought I'd start off just showing you a little overview of what we do at North Allegheny at the Intermediate High School, which is a 9th and 10th grade building. I kind of borrowed this from George Graham here a little bit. Our number one goal is to guide your child in the process of becoming physically active and healthy throughout their life, thereby improving their quality of life. That's kind of what we want to do. We want to get kids out of the traditional PE model. As much as I'm a coach and into athletics, we want to get them into lifetime activities, things that they're likely to do for the rest of their lives to help keep them physically fit. We stress, just a couple quick slides here to get the introduction, that health-related fitness impacts personal quality of life. It impacts our whole society. It impacts our. We also like to create a little bit of an attitude. This is what we get to do today versus this is what we have to do today. Incorporating the idea of the stretch zone, and that 90% of learning happens in the stretch zone. So even though kids don't want PE homework, when PE starts, hold on. Let's see, I got a message from Todd here. Can't hear anything. I apologize for technical difficulties if you can hear me. Okay, let's go back to what we're doing then. Looks like I can hear you. Heidi, thanks for the note there. So trying to show kids that even though they might not want homework, if we keep it limited, we try to keep all assignments limited 5 to 10 minutes at a time, so they can get it done quickly from their cell phone, from their laptops. We were very lucky that this year we went to a one-to-one initiative, so all of our students have their own laptops. Even without that, though, a lot of this is still possible. Going down to our guiding objectives, we want to make sure that all students are lifelong learners. To facilitate this, we need to address why we teach everything and present how to extend it beyond the class. These are things we came up with 15 years ago, but we've tried to live them every day. All curriculum units will be lifetime in nature and emphasize physical fitness. We'll attempt to expose students to many different activities. Every student may not enjoy every activity, but if each student finds a few activities to participate in for a lifetime, we've accomplished our number one goal. And we'll employ a challenge by choice approach, allowing students to participate at their own individual levels. We find that kids, when they're ready, they'll jump in. We try not to be that old school drill sergeant mentality. Our curriculum outline, just so you can see what we teach quickly. We do 4 strands, but we do those strands in the fall, winter, and again in the spring, each time growing from one to the next. Biking, strength training, running, and adventure education. Biking goes from rails to trails to spinning in the winter to actual off-road trail riding in the spring. Strength training, a lot of CrossFit type things where we're showing them how to do things with equipment, either body weight or equipment they can purchase for their own homes. Running, technique, heart rate training in the fall. In the wintertime, we get out and actually run in the snow. We're doing indoor triathlon in our cardio lab. In the spring, a lot more interval training. Then adventure ed, team building in the fall. Wintertime, we actually put a tennis unit in there, indoor mini tennis. And then orienteering, geocaching, and adventure racing in the springtime. So we'll use technology to do these. The first one is an assignment I did in my health class this year. I can think of lots of ways you could do this in PE also, but this is something called ThingLink. I got a lot of these things from a camp I went to this summer called the Keystone Technology Initiative STARS program. We spent a week at Shippensburg University learning different programs. It was a great experience. But ThingLink and all of these things, if you want to find them, just go to YouTube, type in ThingLink, and you'll see video after video of how to create a ThingLink, what it is. Each assignment is share a model with them and show them how I would do it or do the assignment myself so they can get an idea. That's me on the left. That's our trip to New York City last spring, and my wife, my son AJ, my daughter Kira. And while we were teaching and reinforcing the health continuum, I wanted to learn a little bit more about the kids, talk about risk factors. So basically, our first introductory health uh, initiative. With PE, you could do this for a number of things. You could have them talking about their fitness self, their active selves, and sharing the ways they like to be active. But we went from health consequences on the continuum to my number one is always food. Have a big problem with food, and that's the Pamela's Pancakes where my wife works. Big risk factor there. But this is a great site because it allows you to embed hot links where you can do different types of media. So I talked about, this one, I spent a lot of time with Password and professional initiatives, and they can see, things we've done from the Speak Out Day. And while that's a very positive thing, it also takes time. Um, Going into, time at the lake, advocating for my beliefs with my colleague there, Bill Love, Jessica Bacone Cook, myself, and Representative Turzai, Speaker of the House. My dogs, unfortunately, Tigger on the right there is not with us anymore, but biking with friends from around the country, biking from DC to Pittsburgh, vacationing with a family, and different things that I've seen. Risk factors, but you see that the students start to get a feel for who I am or what I like to do, and I got a great feel for what they like to do. I had students submit things like videos of themselves playing the piano, and I got to listen to them play the piano. I got to see them dance in their recitals, and I encouraged them to embed those hot links of them doing the things they like. I even took quotes that I'd take from pictures I'd taken in Washington, D.C. from Martin Luther King and FDR and said, these are some of my favorite quotes. But the project basically wasn't that hard. It only took us about 2 days of in-class time. One, to guide them through how to set up a ThingLink account. To do that, we used a program called, if you look down here, it's called Screencastify, and I'm going to get to that one a little bit later today, how we actually create those flipped lessons through Screencastify. But through a short video, that way the kids that were absent or the kids that might not have gotten it in class, they can go back, instead of asking 100 questions, they can go back and watch a short 2-minute video again. If they didn't get it, they rewind. But the flipped lesson approach has really been a godsend as far as ways to get these kids to understand all this technology and learn it at their own pace. If I had to reteach constantly, I think I'd drive myself a little crazy. But with the flipped classroom and the flipped videos, they can instantly see what's going on there. And that's something that just reminded me of something that I forgot to add into my agenda, but I will share that at the end. The flipped classroom resources, I'm adding it onto my agenda right now. The things out there that make it easy to learn, and they're all short little 10-minute podcasts, which I'll share with you at the end of the presentation today. Number 2 on my list, I want to have you try something today, and it's just a simple flipped lesson on trail running. We did do this through Google Forms and the Fluber grading tool. Again, I'm not going to teach the actual techniques today, but simply show you how I use them, and you can take a look at them. So when we click on the flipped lesson from trail running, it's basically just a Google form that has a video embedded into it. What I want to do to show you how to do this is basically, I think Todd is going to share this link with you so you can actually log in and take the quiz. The video here is only 1.5 minutes, so I was going to take a break for a moment from talking and let you take the quiz. I'll play the video for you, and then we'll figure out how to get this quiz out to you and let you take it. These videos are easy to embed right in the Google form, and they're just from YouTube. Okay, sorry about that. I'm just going to talk you through the video a little bit. We'll make do. This gentleman who is talking is Scott Jurek. He's one of the best ultramarathoners in the country. And this is just an opportunity for, yeah. Yeah, why don't we do that?
Hey Dave, I can give everybody the live link if you want, and then they can actually click on the video on their own machine and take the quiz if you'd rather. Okay, stand by.
All right, so there it is. It's popped up. Why don't each of you just take a moment, click on the video, watch it, and then go down and answer the questions. I'm not checking for accuracy today, but feel free to try to do the best you can. Make up a class, doesn't matter which one. And you'll see while you go ahead and do that. Well, I'll be quiet now and go over it at the end there. So go ahead and take it, click on that link and check the video out.
So, folks, when you're done, just to give Dave an idea when we can
Thanks,
turn this
Todd.
off
That's
and bring
very
up his
helpful.
screen again, just hit us in the chat box and say done. Folks, if you want to, what you can do then is at the bottom of your screen there should be like a little, it looks like a little flower. That'll click you back into the room and you can close the browser and you won't lose us at all. So then that'll get you right back in. And then Dave, if you want
Okay,
to go
I'm
back
doing
in and
that
then
now.
share your screen again, because when I put the web up, it knocked you out.
Okay, well, I'm going to move ahead. If you're still doing the quiz, you can hear me. One of the things I like about this, I mean, I've worked very hard to become a good runner and to take running clinics and be able to teach running skills to my students, but I'm not one of the best ultramarathoners in the world. Scott Jurek is. So it's nice for the kids to be able to hear from other professionals sometimes and learn and reinforce the concepts that we're teaching in class. The video does that in a very short time frame. I gather a quick understanding if they get the key points that I want them to get from the video with some quick, simple questions. But more importantly, Every time I give an assessment, I'm asking opinion questions. What's your experience in running off-road? So I have an idea of their comfort level. What is your comfort level in running off-road? That way I can, those people that say I'm scared, help me. I know I got to give them a little more attention and a little more TLC to get them up and running. They might have fears. They're worried about getting injured, things like that. You don't realize what's going through kids' minds unless you ask. And that's almost impossible to do in a classroom full of 30 kids when they don't feel comfortable talking in front of each other. This way, they know that I'm not going to share what they tell me, and I will just quietly talk to them on the side if I need to. It's amazing what they'll tell you through this private window. Now, if I want to go in and see how to go about it, I can click on Edit this form, and this goes into the backside of how I would create the form. Up at the top, I always check when I do this with my students, require a login, so I know which students logged in. It records their login name, collects their school district username, and then it allows me to keep better track of things. I can go down and see, as far as adding questions, I'm not going to teach you how to do it, but just quickly show you how simple it is. I just click on Add an Item, and it's going to add a question right onto the end there. I can choose what type of question, grids, text, so on. It's very simple to do. Just type my question in and move along. I can copy questions, move from side to side. I'm going to go ahead and delete that one. And then when it's time for me to see what's going on, I just go up to the top, click on View Responses. And behind the scene, you can see I'd used this before in another class. So some names that you might not recognize. They're teachers at North Allegheny who have completed this for a paperless course that I taught. And you could see very quickly what each student taught, what time they submitted the assignment at. I can see what Todd did there, what Brian and Daisy and Steve did. Did a great job. Some very intelligent physical education teachers out there. I can get a quick feel for your off-road. And now, if I really had a big class and I wanted to see more of this, two of my favorite things about the Google Forms is by clicking on Form, I can go to Show Summary of Responses, and I'm going to very quickly get a pie chart showing that 87% of the people picked answer were in Class 1A. What's the key difference between running uphill, downhill, and the flats? Well, 95% of my students got the message. I don't need to reteach this. What's my stride rate? And I can review this in class if I'm in health. I'll pull this chart up right after a test or quiz and review information with them quickly and see what I need to reteach. Going down here, I can see their experience levels. So I never have. So I've got a lot of people that have never done trail running. I know that I need to really worry about technique a little bit more, teach some more technique. It doesn't say who it was from, but I can, you can see the smart aleck teachers here, some of them. I object to running on religious grounds and some of the great quotes I got from my colleagues when I was presenting the workshop to them. But behind the scenes, you can see these things. I can also go in here and I can put an add-on. If you're not familiar with add-ons, down here, you can see all these different add-ons. You can get add-ons. There are literally hundreds of add-ons for the different Google programs. Some are free, some are paid, but from Flubaroo to Mail Merge to, I mean, there are countless add-ons out there. What you can do with those add-ons, it's amazing. So, but the one I'm going to show you today is just Flubaroo. So as I would add it on, you'd see it pop up over here, and I can enable it in this worksheet. You can see I already have, and I can go over and grade the assignment. I can email grades to my students based on their email address, which is automatically submitted. I can view reports. But what I want to do quickly is I've already run Flubaroo. I would just say regrade or grade assignment to actually grade the assignment. Actually, I'll do that with you once. Just go through it quickly. It says it needs authorization to run. It's going to ask me some questions. I say that's okay. And so you can see, instead of running to get Scantrons and grade those Scantrons and fill in the bubbles, this is going to take me no more than a minute. I can see what questions are which. My experience off-road running, I don't want to use that for grading, so I'm just going to say skip grading. I can assign different numbers of points to each one. I can identify, claim that it does different things. And I can also see what's there. So as I click continue, it's going to go through. It's going to ask me which moderator that he got them all right, or hope that he did. We're going to make his test today the key and click continue. So it's using his information to grade everybody else's information. And very quickly, it comes up, just a matter of seconds. I can see the average score out of 5 was a 3.13. I'm sorry, out of 4. 23 counted submissions. I can see that this question, what should your stride rate be, was the most often missed question. And not only that, only 17% of the people got it correct. So I just definitely would have to go back and reteach that area when you look what the Fluber results are. But I have all my grades all printed out, what percentage they got, and every aspect that I might need. I can see that Heather here didn't do so well. It marks her in red because she got less than a 60%, automatically does that. And I can see that my phys ed people here did a pretty good job and got a 3 out of 4 on that quiz. All right, so basically that's a simple example of how to use Google Forms. Quickly, if I would just click on Google Forms there's one example of a YouTube video that's going to go in and show me how to create Google Forms in 8 minutes. Like I said, I don't want to get into that level of detail tonight. Trust me, say everything I've learned, this is how I've learned it, just off of YouTube, going through and watching the videos. Same thing with Fluber. This will take you to a YouTube Fluber video. There's tons of them out there. The next example I have for you tonight is the biking extension assignment. If I take a look at that, basically this is what I just did with my class a couple of weeks ago. And this one I used the screencast to create. So basically I have them put their names in there, what class they're in. And I wanted to, at the end of the unit, I wanted to show them what's available to them through a screencast. A screencast is a way, it's another add-on, it's a way to show a video, and I know you're not going to hear the audio on this, I'll kind of narrate it for you a little bit for a moment. But I can go through and be running my computer like I am with you right now, but recording everything that I do. In this case, I went through Strava Labs and showed the students the different types of trails that are available to them. This is a heat map that Strava has put together that shows how common different areas are. You can see here North Park, how heavily ridden it is, downtown Pittsburgh, how heavily ridden it is, and even across the country. In Europe, you can see where the hot spots are, where the most popular biking spots are. And as I fly over to Europe, how much more popular biking is in Great Britain than it is in the United States and Ireland in those areas. Skipping ahead, I showed the students North Park areas, the most popular riding trails, both on and off-road. I showed them where to access trail maps for North Park so that those people who are into mountain biking, one of the greatest roadblocks they have is they don't know where to go to find the trails. So by showing them a video, I can walk them through step by step and guide them to where the trails are and let them find out how to access that trail system. Moving on, there was Bike Pittsburgh website showing them how to access downtown resources, a new bike sharing program downtown, how to spend the day with their family, even if they don't have bikes, for $6 a person. The Montour Trail, all different sorts of accesses or outfits. The Learn to Bike Day through Trail Pittsburgh, Trail Fest, that was on Sunday, October 11th. Lots of opportunities to extend what we're doing. And then talking about fitness apps and how to download apps and how to use them to maximize your potential with biking. So that was another way that we did that. And through that biking extension assignment, not only could I do that, but let me go back to that for one more moment. Behind the scenes, I can go in and see after the fact what the students had to say. And I deleted their responses on this one because I'm not going to share my student responses in the background. And over here, they had the rate. This is very valuable, I find. Rate my unit. So most of the kids are here, give me a 4 out of 5, 5 out of 5 for the unit, the quality of it. They tell me why they said what they said. This provides so much useful feedback as a teacher. If you encourage your kids to be honest with you, let them know that you're the only one that's going to view this, you're not going to hurt your feelings. Provide suggestions on how we can make it a better unit. I asked them follow-up. What type of biking are they going to do? I only had 3 kids that said they don't like biking, they're not going to do it ever again after the unit. Majority of them said different types of biking that they were interested in, why they liked the unit, This is also great data for my administration. If they're looking to cut my program or my principal's saying, well, I know it's just PE, well, I can go in and say, well, that's not what my students are saying. I have, right here, just from my classes alone, I have 120 responses that say, well, this is how much we loved it. This is what we got out of it. This is what we learned in physical education during the course of this one unit. Um, you know, this person wants me to pave the trail for them, which if I get some money, we'll go back and do that. But you can see here by their learning, but they're also providing me with valuable data as to how to do a better job in teaching that unit the next time. Okay, so that was and the way that we created that was through Screencastify. And basically, here's how you use Screencastify. It is an extension, but through your Chrome web browser, just like we showed you for the Flubaroo and those add-ons, you click on the little three bars up there, and as you go down, you'll see that there is an option for more tools. Over here, there's an extensions button. When I click on that extensions, there are all sorts of things like ad block for YouTube. You notice I have that one up here, ad block plus. It keeps those pop-ups from ruining your experience. All sorts of different add-ons that you can get. And these are just the ones that I've used. Screencastify is one of them. Basically, the way that it works is once you enable it, it shows up here, and as I click on this, it's going to allow me to record everything I'm doing. It's as simple as start recording. It's going to ask me a couple of questions. It's going to allow me to record what I'm doing with you. It's a very, very simple process to use. There are other ones out there. There's pay versions. There's Screencast-O-Matic I've heard good things about, but I really haven't spent much time exploring the others because I've been very happy with Screencastify and how efficient it is and how easy and well it works with Google Chrome. Another new extension opportunity I've created lately is we talk about makeups in physical education. And when we're talking about class makeups, so many times I see people giving kids busy work. Come in and do 20 minutes on a stationary bike. Do 20 minutes is good for us. Sometimes we want to make sure that they're learning or they're extending their opportunity. So what I did recently was I'm giving my kids options. So as we click on those class makeup options, I want to give them options to extend the curriculum outside of class and make up classes they may have missed. They can't. Now, this is not a replacement for a quality physical education program. They need to be in the class, physically experiencing the things we experience and learning the things that we learn. But on the days when they're not there, like for instance, the other day we're in an adventure education unit. Well, I want my kids to be able to learn the concepts that we learned and how the team building worked out. So rather than have them go ride a bike for 20 minutes, I said, okay, well, let's go in and do the makeup assignment. They can quickly talk about the date of the class. It talks here about, in the beginning of the assignment, actually in Blackboard. We have a Blackboard learning management system in our school. So they would access this through the Blackboard, and it tells them to go back to my class wiki where I keep a log of what we do every day in class. They have to go back to the class wiki first, see what they missed on the day that they were absent, and then they know what they have to make up. They want to make up something that is similar to what they missed as possible. They're going to do a little research, talk about the 5 benefits of team building, because this lesson was regarding team building. Talk about what makes a good leader, teamwork. Then they're going to actually have to talk about personality traits and how those play into the team role, passive, assertive, and aggressive behavior, and how those may have affected the activity. And then interview a couple classmates to see what the takeaways were from the class, and then they can go in and share what their classmates learned from the class and what they missed out on by not being there that day. It also gives me some great feedback as to what people are thinking about each individual lesson if I hadn't already asked them. So that's one avenue. Some of the other ones quickly, I'm not going to hit everyone in that level of detail, but just a fitness app, GPS workout, getting kids to start thinking about downloading fitness apps and going out and using Strava or Map My Run or Map My Fitness to map their running routes, walking routes, biking routes. We'll teach a lesson on safety as far as not starting at or finishing at your house, so predict your routes and being safe in using these apps. But then they can simply email me the link to their app, and I can see that, yes, they did indeed do an hour-long bike ride downtown, or they rode the Lake Loop at North Park, and I can see how they did, and they're demonstrating to me that they're taking what they're doing in class, extending it into their own personal lives. Participating in a fitness event, they can do that. A fitness workout app, download an app, do sample workouts, take screen captures, write a review, and share that review with me through Google Docs. I gave them a couple examples there they can use. They can also use pretty much any app that they would like. In person, they can see their teacher, do it the old-fashioned way. They can do a short research project on something they've always wanted to do but haven't had a chance to do. Maybe they want to go skiing, and they can write up a short research paper about what's involved in going skiing at Boyce Park or at Seven Springs, how they would go about joining the ski club at North Allegheny or at their school. Independent study options, even if I haven't thought of it, maybe they'll teach me. Maybe they have a unique idea. They can have that option. Current events, nutrition. Current events, simply go find articles that interest you, read them, educate yourself, become a lifelong learner, and then share that article with me and summarize what you learned from that article with me. So encouraging them to go on and be independent thinkers and lifelong learners on their own. Going back to the outline. Don't want to keep you here all night, but just kind of cruising through here. Example number 5 is a Zaption video and quiz. Zaption is a free online resource. You can get pay accounts, but you can also get the free accounts. It's just basically you can go in, and once you create the account, you can upload. It's reminding me that I already viewed it. I'm going to start over, but I can upload videos through YouTube and embed questions into these videos. This is the current homework that's due tomorrow morning for one of my classes. And they would go on, click on it, and right away, it's going to ask them a question. It's going to talk about their goals for the lesson. I click on play, and it's going to play the video for me. I'm assuming you can't hear this one either, but basically, it's talking about the marathon and running in the Tarahumara Indian tribe from Mexico. It's going to question them throughout or ask questions about what they should see. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward now, but notice it pauses each time I want them to read something or answer a question. It'll automatically pause. As I come down, it's talking about where they live, showing some highlights. If I fast forward a little bit longer, this is the author of Born to Run, great book on running technique. He's talking about them running up to 100 to 200 miles at a time. So in the Tarahumara tribe, just the men run. Well, I asked them a question, try to get them thinking, and the answer to that is false. I wanted to stress how the whole family participates in it. Women, children, men, it's a way of life for the Tarahumara Indians. And then going through the entire video, but the point is what I wanted you to see is just to back up what the body's capable of, showing people these people could run. The longest straight run was 435 miles that was ever recorded without a rest. Going on, now we're going to a little more advanced method, talk about persistence hunting. And this is Dr. Daniel Lieberman, who's a researcher at Harvard University. So in case they don't want to believe me about how we should run and how we should prevent injuries, maybe they'll believe the Harvard researcher when he comes in and starts breaking down video on the treadmill of elite runners and talking about overuse injury. And they can see the biomechanical breakdown of how this stuff works. So again, it's selling what you're doing. And if you look at the length up here, it's 8 minutes and 53 seconds. If I click on analytics, I can go in here and see that 85 people have viewed this tour so far. It took them an average of 5 minutes and 18 seconds to view, so they can skip forward. And when they do skip forward, I get notified. I can see that 36 have completed all the questions. There's 0 to 25 who haven't completed the questions yet. They've got to go back. But I can see all my different ratings. Who rated it 5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars, or 1. The average score, and so on. So it's a great, we're talking about self-assessment. This is just a basic way that I like to use self-assessment in what we do. As we go through, let me check the notes here for a second. Just seeing if I'm missing anything, any comments. All right, so going over to self-assessment, technology has been such a good friend as far as this goes. Right now in our running unit, we are actually going in and having kids self-assess by videotaping using their own phones. They hand their phone to their partner and they videotape themselves. This is an example of one we did last year in our CrossFit using a med ball clean and press, having the students bring their phones to class. Previously, we've used iPads, iPods, but now it's just easier for them to do the videos themselves. And then what they'll do is take the video home, play the video on their phone as they answer these questions. Go through last name, first name, setting up for the exercise. Did they do each of these constructive criticisms? We've also set this up where there's a projector, and in small groups, they would sit down and watch their own small group, 4 or 5 students. They'd watch each other and give each other constructive criticisms and just listen. Then after they're done listening to everybody else's constructive criticisms, they go through and answer these questionnaires, evaluating themselves. Talking about, did they set up for the exercise properly? Did they perform the exercise properly? What are common faults? Did they perform those common faults? Overall technique, notes. And then I can go in behind the scenes, as always, and I can see what they did. So there's 140 responses on this one. I can go in and see those responses. And again, I've deleted the students' names, but you can see under each one, did they or didn't they? And going into the form, I can go to the summary of responses and see which items I need to reteach. So as I go through, I noticed that going down this quickly, the shoulder shrug with straight arms, ball to hip height, performing the exercise, 62% of my class did not get that part of the exercise right. So I need to go back and reteach and re-practice that part of the medicine ball clean. They weren't able to get the shoulder shrug, keep the arms straight, and bring the ball to hip height. They didn't set up properly for the exercise. I can see the full squat with elbow and hips beneath the ball. They didn't get that one. 48% of the kids didn't, or 33% of the kids didn't get that. So I need to go back and reteach. And these ones are just kind of flipped. But I could see that same one that was evident up here. When I flipped the things and looked at the faults, they answered the same one. So there's some consistency showing that they're being honest in their answers. And then down here, can't bend low because of my knees, all the usual excuses. I think I was awesome. That kids, hurting for self-confidence, you can see. But you can see what they have to say about what they did or why they did it. So again, it's great feedback, and you can do this with any number of things that you're teaching in your class. And it probably took the kids 5 minutes at home to fill out. I got to close down some of my windows so my computer doesn't shut down on me. Takes those kids 5 minutes to fill that out while looking at their videos. Distance running technique quiz, another simple one. Coming in at the end of this unit, we'll have a running form quiz. They'll go down, answer the questions, what we've talked about throughout the lesson. What are your thoughts? Again, that's just a very simple thing. I've already gone over quizzes. This was my health lesson today, and this is just a different app I wanted to share with you. We're learning about personalities. So we talked about fixed versus growth mindset yesterday, excuse me. And today we went in and used Nearpod to complete a lesson where the kids went in, their class dot last name, if I could type, dot first name. And the reason I do this is it allows me to sort very easily once I get multiple classes in there. And then once they're in, they can complete this lesson talking about personalities. And John Wooden does a great job of how to develop character and personality. And he is a huge growth mindset person. So I don't tell them he's growth mindset to start off with, but they've just read about growth mindset and talked and watched videos with Carol Dweck, the author of Fixed versus Growth Mindset. And then we come in, talk about John here, watch his TED Talk, which if you've never watched it, look that up on YouTube. John Wooden's TED Talk is about 18 minutes, fantastic talk. And then even though he's talking about the 30s and 40s, they can see that things haven't changed that much. The same values and principles that were important back then are still important today. What was Coach Wooden's definition of success? Talking about and then allow them to paraphrase that. And you can just build these questions right into the assignment, and just instead of just giving the video and talking and having 3 or 4 kids raise their hand, now I know what every one of my students got out of it, what they're thinking, and I've learned so much more about my students this year because I'm looking at their name, reading what their thoughts are, and I find that I know my students a lot better than I ever have in the past because I'm hearing and reading about what they think on everything that we do. Even when I get into Blackboard, every assignment we do, we have a discussion board, and they get to tell me what they think about it, good, bad, or ugly. They tell me, and then I can read about it, uh, and then go back and complete this. Now, this one is going to go through, and we talk about his pyramid and teachings of his father. But it's a great way to control. In the class, if I was doing this as a classroom assignment, I'm controlling their computer screens. They move forward when I allow them to move forward. I have this one set up as a homework assignment so they can log in and do it themselves, either at school or from home. Usually the first time I use a new technology like this, I like to do it in the classroom in case there's any difficulties. But now the kids are pretty much to the point where they can just fly through these. They can pick it up and do it pretty quickly and easily. Um, Sample assignment, just a preview. I put this on the agenda, just how to create and share the assignment. This is another screencast-o-matic where it just goes in and just teaching the kids in the beginning how to create assignments in Google Docs and how to share those assignments step by step, how to create them. And even this one, I think I shared this with a class. Sorry, it's freezing up a little bit, but this actually teaches you how to use Screencastify. Once it starts going here, it'll go in and talk about adding the Screencastify icon up here. You can see the little red dot, which means it's recording, and then how to share projects back and forth with each other. But again, I'd be here all night trying to teach you how to do that. I strongly recommend, rather than me telling you how to do it, being that self-directed learner and going in and taking this, write down the favorite apps that you had. The ones that we talked about today were Google Forms, Flubaroo, and if you just go into YouTube and search these, you're going to find lots of great videos on how to do them. Screencastify, Nearpod, Zaption was one of the other ones we used. And then the last one I wanted to share with you, one of the things that really got me excited about this stuff this summer was a podcast on the flipped classroom. So I'm going to just be honest, I'm not even sure where it is right now, but we're going to talk about it. It's the flipped classroom. Wish I would have had this set up for you ahead of time, so it just might take me a second to get to it. The Flipped Classroom podcast, as I go through this, there's Flipped Learning Network. Just want to show you this because he actually has physical education specific videos on here as far as, and that is not it. Hold on, I'll be right with you here. Let me look this up on my cell phone for a second. What I do is watch the podcasts and then download them, not watch them, download them and listen to them in the car as I drive. They're only about 10 minutes long. I use an app called Podcast Addict. And the name of the podcast I want to share with you is from John Bergman, and it's called The Flip Side. Okay, so there it is, BAM Radio Network. And you can listen to them online. But the thing that's nice about him is, just as I told you with the kids, and this is where I got the idea from, you don't want long homework assignments. You don't want tedious. You want quick and dirty, get the point across, and then get it to them. So if you scroll down here, you'll see John in a second. Oh boy, that's what I get for not being prepared. I apologize. But you find his video there. I'm looking for his face. He was one of the top people there. There he is. 5 reasons that your kid is in a flipped classroom. So if I look at John Bergman and go to his sessions, it's called The Flip Side with John Bergman. He does an outstanding job, and he's actually a triathlete. I learned about him through the Strava app, and then started following him on Strava, and then learned that he also does flipped classroom activities. So Podcast Addict, BAM Radio, John Bergman's the guy you want. And then once you get into there, you'll see that he'll give you some great information on how to flip your classes and how to create some of these ideas. Some great 10-minute podcasts that'll give you all sorts of tips and ideas on how to extend your curriculum outside of what you do. Very practical, down to earth advice. Um, I think if I go back to my list, I've covered just about everything, and it's under an hour. Thank you, Todd. I see you got the link up there. Appreciate it. And then I see the question also, do I use the paid version of Nearpod? Not yet. I was thinking about paying for it, but our district is talking about buying it for everybody, so I've been holding off on that. So far, I'm just the free version, which does allow you to do lots of things. It prompts you constantly to upgrade, but it's really not too bad so far. Any questions? If you want to type in a question, I have plenty of time. I can help you out here. Thanks, Steve. Great question, Todd. He said there, you can read for yourself, do I throw the question out? Well, a lot of times, yes. It depends. If it's something that I know that I have taught and they just weren't on task or weren't paying attention, well, then tough. I leave it in there. But there's definitely times when I think about, well, maybe I didn't teach that as well as I thought I had, or maybe I worded the question incorrectly, so I will throw it out, or at least, absolutely at least, reteach the topic. One of the things I've gone to also with the quizzes through Blackboard, it's really nice is you can allow kids multiple attempts and automatically take their best attempt or an average of the attempts. I find that when they get that second chance to take the test, sometimes they do better, sometimes they don't take advantage, but it provides the opportunity to relearn information rather than saying, oh, I got it wrong and moving on. They'll go out and actually look up their wrong answers and come back and retake the test again, which is a great way to do it. And then, of course, when the parents complain about their grades, say, hey, they had an opportunity. Hannah, good question. And yes, I do get the do I have to have homework and PE thing. And when I ask the kids at the end of the unit, what can we do differently? Some of them I do here, no homework. But like everything else, I say, well, we stress, and I think the biggest thing we can do is be a salesperson for what we're teaching and why it's so important. And I start asking them questions. I said, I'm not asking you to share your personal stories with me, but start thinking about your family and neighbors and things about the ailments and problems. Don't you think we can prevent a lot of those things through proper education? And we try to be the salesperson and just show that if it's good homework and it's quality homework that's going to give them a better lifestyle or quality of life, then fine. If it's busy work, it's hard to back it up. So I think the big thing is making sure that you only give brief assignments and you only give things that they can attach meaning to. Even if they don't get it quite yet, a lot of kids will come back to me later in the year and say, oh, okay, now I'm starting to get it. Or even years later, now I'm starting to get it. Steve's question about how often. I usually try to limit it to about once or at most twice per unit. Our units only last 6 lessons. So, every 3 to 6 lessons approximately, maybe one to introduce a unit, one to wrap up a unit. Sometimes I'll even combine them, my unit wrap up with my next unit introduction. So I'll introduce one unit with a short video and ask some questions about what they thought of the last unit to try to combine them so I don't have to go on too much. As far as their grade goes, like I just told some kids today, we're early in the year and I have kids that haven't completed a single homework assignment yet, and they have B's and C's in my class. If a kid goes through the year and doesn't do any homework, they're probably going to get a C for the class. If they're fine with that and their parents are fine with that, well, then that's what they're going to get. But because of the way that we do it, we've got a lot of administrative support, and we're not overburdening the kids. Like I said, we make sure we keep it short and sweet, so it's been supported. Okay, Todd's question. One of the problems that I've run into with the makeup is lack of completion. Do you have that with the online makeups? Actually, I think I get a better completion rate. I just posted that new assignment. I literally created that last night after you and I talked, Todd, and posted it to my Blackboard account. And within a half an hour, I had two kids submit makeups because they got dings on their Blackboard app on their phone that showed them that I completed that. So far, so good. And I've done it in the past. I find it actually increases it because it gives them other options they can do on their own time rather than having to see me before school or after school or so on. And they can research something they're actually interested in. So I'm pretty optimistic about that working out.
Hey folks, just to let you know too, I have put Dave's agenda down here in the bottom right corner below the chat room. So if you go down there, you can actually click on that file. You have to click on the file, and then it should open as it should. The button that says
Okay.
download should become
I'm more than
active, and
happy
then
to
you can
share.
download the agenda for yourself.
I'm more than happy to
Um,
share anything with you. The
if there's
only
any more
problem that I
questions,
have is
go ahead.
I do everything through Google, and we have a school managed Google account. So a lot of the things that are Google Docs, I can't share outside the network. I'd have to download them and get them to you. But I'm happy to do that. If you have a specific thing you want to request, and if I will download it and share it. If you can't get it through through the mode that Todd is sharing with you, if you click on a link that says you don't have access, just let me know, and I'll find a way to get it to you. Oh, thanks, Todd.
All right, last chance for questions. If anybody has any more, just dump those into that chat box, and then we'll do a quick preview of the next webinar, and we'll wrap up for the night.
Okay, looks like we're wrapping it up. Okay.
So the next, I think I'm muted. Oh no, I'm not. The next webinar is going to be done by Hannah Brewer. She's going to be doing some stuff on the whole child, and I actually enabled her microphone. She's with us tonight. So if you'd like to hear a quick preview, I'll turn it over to Hannah and let her do a quick intro, and that will be on November 10th from 6:30 to 7:30. So spread the word, watch Twitter, and also send us some feedback about tonight's webinar on Twitter if you would. At PS Aford. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you thought. So Hannah, I'll turn it over to you if you want to do a quick intro.
Sure, thanks, Todd. Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? All right, my
Yep.
name is Hannah Brewer, and I teach at Slippery Rock University. On the 10th of November, I'm going to lead a webinar that's on the whole school, whole community, whole child approach. And what's really exciting about this initiative is that it started through the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, as well as the Association for Supervision, Curriculum, and Development. So this is an initiative that focuses on health, physical activity, physical education, and learning, but it's actually administrators and supervisors, as well as the CDC, who are implementing this. So what I'm going to talk about is what the initiative is, and then also what schools can do, or specifically what health and physical education teachers can do to help ensure that schools are following this wellness policy and initiative. I'm also working with Slippery Rock Area School District to revamp their wellness policy and their wellness commission. So I'll be able to share some of the real world examples that they're doing and the process that they went through to meet the Whole Child Initiative. So I look forward to seeing you on the 10th of November, same time, 6:30 to 7:30.
Thanks so much, Hannah, and thank you so much, Dave. That was so informative, and we really appreciate you taking time out of your schedule. I know that the fall with having two kids is probably as crazy as any other parent with two kids right now, so we appreciate you taking some
I'm
time out of
between
your
dropping
schedule
off and
to.
picking up for the meeting, so
Okay, well, we better not hold you up anymore. We don't want the kid to be sitting on the curb waiting for you, right? Feel like he's
we're doing
parentless.
good.
Yeah, oh, that's true. Yeah, maybe run uphill both ways home. So anyway,
Yeah.
but thanks again, Dave. I appreciate it. And like I said, I threw Dave's email address in there. So if you have questions for Dave, he's an excellent resource. And like I said, I was enjoying this thoroughly tonight, and I hope you all did too. So good night, everyone.
Good night.